They have more cookies. Check them out. Do you have a website?
No.
She's gonna make a fortune.
NIL deals are open.
She can make some cookies. Awesome.
I'm just gonna start with an opening statement, but when we get to the Q&A section, please raise your hand and then share your name and outlet so that he can begin to start learning all of you wonderful people. Let's start with an opening statement.
It's great times here at Kentucky. It's the best times because we've been on the court now. We just had our sixth practice together as a team, which is the best part. And the guys are doing an extraordinary job. I'm really excited about putting this piece together. We feel incredibly rushed, like we're just under the gun now to grow together and understand each other and understand new terminology and new personalities and new skill sets. But I'm absolutely loving being on the court with these guys. It's super special. It's the best part. We're super excited about the draft. I'm sure we'll get some questions on that. But, we got 5 guys eligible in this draft, and there's going to be some more history made with Kentucky basketball and NBA draft. And we're super excited for these young men and what they contributed here and what they can do in the future. And then I assume today we're going to talk about DBT, which is awesome. That we had in Rupp Arena. It's going to be a huge deal. We're going to take every opportunity to support these greats. We have 3 national champions that are coming back to be a part of this team, and a bunch of guys that went far in the NCAA tournament and served Kentucky really well. And a bunch of draft picks, guys that had good careers in the league. And so to have those 4 players back is really special, and we're incredibly excited about taking full advantage of that. That's all I got for you guys. And cookies.
Thank you.
Ben Roberts, Herald Leader. Just what have been your general impressions week and a half into practice? How the guys are kind of adapting to your style and approach, and any surprises based on what you saw in the recruiting?
Yeah, you know, actually, there have been very few surprises in terms of what we thought we got, which is exciting. The pieces fit. You know, we started recruiting Amari even before we got here to Kentucky. And you know, the thing that drew him to us was his ability to pass. And the very first time we stepped on the court, we were running some corner split action. He started tying the guys up, and it was like there was a reaction from everybody in the gym, and all of a sudden everybody starts cutting harder. And so guys, you know, it's one of the things about working the portal is that you have such a clear. Guys have such a resume, and you can see over and over again what they do in college. So our guys have certainly lived up to that building. So there have been a ton of surprises in the skill set, but there have been is, I've been really humbled. Today we made a huge point. Yesterday we were meeting as a staff, and sometimes you get veteran players and they're less malleable and less coachable, and they kind of have done what they've done and they do what they do and they're less responsive. The thing that's been surprising, these guys have been incredibly willing to just grab onto any instruction and really run with it. Some guys, I mean, there's a bunch of guys that stick out, but what Lamont Butler has done in terms of just taking little pieces of advice and implementing them immediately has been so exciting. Andrew Carr, in the same way, in a different area of the game, has been incredible. Otega Owe, we've had some conversation over the last couple of days, and he came out and had an unbelievable practice this morning. But it's really wonderful to see these veteran guys and how excited they are to grow and learn, and how willing they are to try new things.
Larry Hall. Hey, good morning. When you talk about the TBT.
What is your Hey, I like that. We gotta get a picture after this. That's good. I brought you cookies, you brought me a t-shirt, let's go.
Okay, but when you talk about the TBTs, exciting and awesome, what kind of things would you like maybe to see that your players to be involved with some of those guys? You kind of thought about that already?
Well, one of the great things for us is that former players are allowed to come be on the court with our current players. It's an NCAA rule that's illegal, and so these guys are preparing for a tournament where they have a chance to represent Kentucky and themselves in a brilliant way this summer, and we're trying to prepare for a huge season, and so we're going to try and do that together a little bit.
Ethan Grant, Scott's coverage. You've obviously got a team of a bunch of guys that have never played together. How are you approaching the chemistry building? Are you kind of approaching it differently than you would have in the past?
Yeah, that's where we're feeling the urgency to go fast. You know, we installed so much in the first week. You only get 1 hour a day, 4 days a week. That's it. And so normally, you know, with in a normal situation, we'd just be doing skill development right now. But we've moved at lightning fast pace, trying to give our guys a sense, a bigger, grander overview of how we're going to play and what we do and how we do it, and let them see it and feel it on the court. And so we've been super aggressive on everything we're installing right now. The guys have been really receptive. Like that's the other thing about veteran guys, they pick stuff up really fast. And so that's been a major difference. I've never approached an off season like this.
Jack Logan, KSR, you talked about the 13th spot being kind of a floating piece. Now that your 6th practice is in, have your thoughts changed on that at all about what you're kind of looking with that last spot?
No, it's still the same. I think we had a pretty good feel of where we were a couple weeks ago, and it's just been confirmed more than anything else. You know, we're gonna find it, like we talked about, there could be 100 different reasons why a 13th scholarship would fit. We're having open media tryouts next week, Dan. Anybody wants to take a shot at that last scholarship, but I got a lot of laughs, but I got a lot of like eager eyes. Paying attention right now. It's like, okay, dust off the shoes, and let's go. But yeah, we're still kind of floating with it, and we'll see. You know, we'll spend some time, a ton of time this summer out on the road where it's legal, including some international things. And there's always unique things that happen there late, and there's also interesting things that always happen late in the States. Kind of play it later.
Hi, Sierra Newton, LEX 18. You talked about things going really fast. How important is it having Jackson, someone who's been with you before, when you're having to install so much so quickly?
Yeah, it's a gift. So, you know, I bumble around saying what I'm saying, and then Jack's like, all right, guys, this is what it really means. Okay? He's a great interpreter, and he's not just an interpreter of words and concepts on the court, but he'll also double down on the ideas about like, hey guys, this is really important. Like, you're gonna hear this, you know, what we just talked about, you're gonna hear every single day for the rest of the season. And then there's a lot of things where Jack's like, I don't listen to him, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But he's pretty good distiller of information for us. And then also the vibe, the feel, you know, the approach of the game. He's got a good sense of how we try and build a locker room, the things that are important to us in the locker room, and how we try and you know, cultivate communication on the floor. And he's done a great job being an example of that. And he's a really vital piece. It doesn't hurt that he's going to be a caliber player.
Kyle played with you. You talked when you started about trying to figure out what you needed on the staff, and you obviously prioritize like, I got to get my guys who are going to go recruit, and you flesh that out some. But do you have any other ideas on like beyond just your 5-man staff, like what you want to put around you from an organizational standpoint?
Yeah. So you know, that's been super quick. So we went relatively fast. You know, I'm pretty slow and methodical and meticulous about, especially adding personnel into the staff. It's fitting the pieces together is so important to me, and so that's actually what you just readjust your thinking every time you add a new piece. You gotta readjust and evaluate and reevaluate. And so now we're at the point with potentially a last staff spot or two about not reevaluating personnel, but reevaluating position and features of what a job would look like. And that actually is taking longer. It's been, and it also, I'm really glad that we've got crossed over the threshold where I get to see the staff on the court now, interacting with players in terms of teaching and instructing and pushing and communicating. And so I'm getting to see the staff in a new light the last week and a couple of days. And so as we take in all that information, all of that is kind of going to filter into the last spot or two about how we reevaluate what that job's even going to look like. And also we're getting a sense, you know, as we talk about every single day, right, the landscape of college basketball has changed so dramatically that there's this real push about like, man, if I end up with exactly the same staff that I would have had 3 years ago, that hasn't been reactionary to the massive like change in college basketball, then I might miss something. And so we're trying to figure all that out. We already have a couple positions that are a little bit unique and different, and we're trying to figure out the last ones.
Dylan Ballard, Steve Luke. I know that, you know, you can't talk about specific players, but just how's the recruiting been different here than the last stop, and like, how's that going for you? And kind of on a funnier note, did the clutch make it in that car? You said you hadn't drove on it in a while on that recruiting trip that you posted about on Twitter.
Yeah, that's not as funny as you think it is. Yeah, I'll tell you, you know, every time that I get to walk into a building with UK on my chest, it just feels different recruiting, and it looks different. I'm a way handsomer guy with UK on my chest, and it's also, man, it just comes out of my soul. You know, every time I get to say, introduce myself to a recruiter and say, you know, I'm Coach Pope, the head coach at the University of Kentucky. Like, I can't just, it doesn't roll off my tongue. Like, it catches me every single time. Because I know what this job is, right? And I know how blessed we are to have a chance to be here at Philly with this incredible university. So, you know, in its own unique way, you know, I got to coach at a great institution before this at BYU that had some significant filters in terms of the players that would fit in that program. And certainly Kentucky has massive filters also, because there's just not that many players that are built to play. You know, they've got to be the best players in the country, and they got to want to take on the most amount of pressure and scrutiny of any players in the country, and they have to, you know, they have the highest standard of any program in the country. And so, finding those pieces is different also. It's kind of a nice mix. And I'm telling you, pulling out of the airport in Buenos Aires was shaky. There was a lot of start and stop and a lot of grinding. In the old way we used to talk about it. But I'm telling you, half a day in, man, I felt like Mario Andretti rolling out there. It was unbelievable. I don't know if there's any traffic laws in Buenos Aires, but I'm pretty sure I broke them all. It was fun. That was awesome. Do they even make sticks anymore? Because it was fun to drive. The safest, yeah. Let's stop before you get truck.
Keith Taylor with Kentucky Today. How's your schedule coming, and how's it looking at this point? How much are you done, and how much are you not?
We're close. We're really close. I think we're just waiting on some contracts. Scheduling is just complicated. It is like, it has never ceased to amaze me how complicated it is to put together a schedule, and more complicated now than ever for like 10 different reasons. But I think we're really excited about our schedule. We're playing some of the best teams in the country early. You know, we like the way that it's spaced out during the non-conference, and it's gonna be fun. I can't wait to get into Rupp. I just can't wait. Can't wait to get into it.
Hey, Coach, right back here in the corner. Your team's all brand new. There's so many personalities that you have to get to learn and know. How are you navigating that to make sure everyone is well connected?
Yeah, well, I'm counting on staff to do that a lot, and I'm counting on the players to do that a lot. You know, one of the things with us is, you know, Jack has echoed this with the team a lot. We believe in a player-led team and a player-led organization. We believe from leading in the middle, not from out front. And what we do is we want to mentor these kids so that they can be great leaders for themselves and hold each other accountable. Our guys' voices will always be more powerful than mine. That's when you know you really have a team, when you really have it. When guys are on the court making decisions with each other and holding each other accountable and not looking over the bench at me and seeing if they're pleasing me or if they're doing what I said, but they're doing what the game is teaching them to do. The game is the best teacher. Then you know you got it. So when we talk about bringing these guys together, we're talking about all those things, and our guys have done an incredible job spending time together. I called, you know, one of our guys had a tough, oh man, I want to throw him under the bus so bad. We'll see. One of our guys had a really tough day the other day, just with some extended family, really difficult things. And so we were super concerned about it. It was a tough, emotional day. And so I had to go on the road, and I called late that night and called him. And I'm gonna try and decide if I'll say their names. But, I asked him, I'm like, hey, did you, because there were some plans, and I was like, hey, did you go to see? He's like, no, me and my teammate, just finished, we just spent the last few hours writing a song, in the lodge. And I was like, please, for the love of all things, send this to me. And he was like, no, this will never see the light of day. So we can negotiate afterwards if I reveal the name so you guys can dig into this, but I'm telling you, somebody please get that recording, because I wanna hear it. Let's put it out. But that's the magic of a team, right? And that's how, you know, you guys have been together for 2 weeks now, and when you see signs like that, when guys are watching out for each other like that and doing stupid stuff together, right? That's actually how you develop relationships, and that's what we all know in college. That's the capital that you put in the bank. So when you're in the middle of the season or in the middle of training camp, things get really hard, and you know, your buddy just cocks you with the elbow right to the face, and you're bloody and bleeding and angry. That's the type, or when things are going bad, that's what gets you through it. And so I feel like I have a group of guys. I'm telling you, these are some of the best human beings you're ever gonna meet on this team. Like, they're special young men. It's super cool. And so they're getting to know each other really quickly and doing a great job at it. And it's very intentional on their part. They know what they're trying to do.
John?
John Clay there, leader. Hey, Mark. What's been the hardest part so far? Has it just been having enough time to do everything you need to do, or has there been something else?
I don't, wow, I don't know how to answer that question. I think, it's, everything is challenging. Like, I think everything is challenging the way you would expect it to be. But it's just like, all the challenges kind of like fade away into just the sheer awesomeness of getting to do this. Like, getting here, be here with you guys, and getting to be here with these guys on the court, and get to be with my staff. Like, the staff is, you know, we can't get through a staff meeting. We can't even finish the staff meeting because it always breaks out into, you know, somebody running out of the room because they're laughing so hard they can't take another, you know, it just is, and so it's a ton of work, it's a ton of time, but I don't know if it's just the greatest challenge that we'll ever face in our professional careers. It's pretty exciting.
Michael?
Michael Epps with Washington 6, Mark, Reed Shepherd and Rob Dillingham, hear their names called pretty early. Obviously, they're not your players though. Does that give you a little motivation to get some of your guys to get called pretty early? And could you also share an NBA draft story of your own?
But yeah, well, all right. Well, I'm excited for all these guys. You know, I'm excited for Justin. I'm excited for obviously Reed and you know, and we're excited for, you know, for Rob and the whole crew, right? It's a special moment for guys. You know, there's you know, you just dream of the moment when you get to, you know, hear your name called, and you work really hard at it, and there's no guarantees, right? It is what it is. It's just super challenging. This filter going from college to the NBA is an excruciating filter. It gets really complicated, and so it's incredibly exciting time for these guys to start a new journey in their life, and it's been in our tenure, it's been a defining feature of Kentucky basketball. I'm looking at these great coaches, you know, on the wall here. Like, I mean, come on, this is a Mount Rushmore of coaching in all of college basketball. And clearly, what Cal's done. Then you think about what Cal's done is incredible, right? You think about I mean, tell me who some of the greatest coaches ever played the game into the NBA, and Coach B. He looks a lot younger here, but he's still just an NBA coach. You know, my team had 9 guys go play in the NBA from our team. Like, it's you know, this tradition at Kentucky of having great players come here and hang banners and then go play in the NBA is part and parcel of what makes this place special. And so tomorrow's a special day for Kentucky for sure, and we're really excited for these guys that wore this jersey and represent this place really well.
And then for yours, back into that, do you remember?
Yeah, so I got drafted. It was a mistake. I'm pretty sure that Donnie Walsh never recovered. He was the president of the Pacers, and in fact, Larry Brown did get fired, in fact, that season, and so I think they were like, what have, you know, clearly you know, they were questioning the leadership in making that decision. But yeah, I really do leave it as thanks to coach. Well, first of all, thanks to the guys on the team, because I have no chance to get drafted if we don't win a national championship. And then I'm super grateful for coach. If you go back and look at the film, Coach Pitino was on live on the show. It was like 4 guys doing the draft. And so I got picked, I think 52nd, I'm pretty sure that's right. I think it was 58 or 59 people in the draft, so it was late, guys, it was late. And so they show the one highlight that I had in my career. It was very short, and then they flash back to the panel, and coach just kind of leans back in his chair, and he holds up his rosary, and he's like, thank goodness I've been rubbing my rosary beads for the last 10 picks. So I'm sure that has something to do with it.
All right, guys, there's time for just a few more. Eric.
Gary Graves, AP. When you were talking about following these coaches, in terms of following Cal, how quickly, or what did you realize right away that you would have to do differently in terms of building a team as opposed to your previous style?
Well, the one thing I know is, listen, I mean, you know, Cal's one of the great coaches to ever coach. I mean, he went to 4 Final Fours in 5 years and coached during the draft coach and represented Kentucky really, really well. He gave his heart and soul to this place. And Will, like, he has BBN, and I'm just as much a member of BBN as anybody. All of us would be grateful to him forever. And he's a Hall of Fame coach. But one of the things that you learn really early on, if you have great mentors in this game, is that you just have to coach you. Like, I have to be me, right? I can't be Coach Pitino, I can't be Tubby, I can't be Cal. It would be disingenuous, and my guys wouldn't actually believe it if I tried to take on that persona, just that personality, or even approach to the game. Like, we're us. And the truth is, like, for all the you know, little warbles and mix-ups, I love getting coached me, and I'm a big believer in what we do. I love our staff, and so I think right now we're just trying to do everything we can to build on this incredible legacy that is Kentucky basketball, and do it the way that we know how to do it, that we really believe it's going to work. Cal has been super generous. I had a chance to speak with him several times. He's always been generous throughout my whole career. He's been so great to me. But you know, as you step into these, you know, this job. This is the only one of its kind. We got to go do this the best way we can. It's us, and that's what we're trying to do. So we're not, you know, certainly I've been huge fans of these coaches and the coaches that coach me, so I steal stuff from every single one of those coaches. But we're trying to do this.
We'll go to 2 more, Ryan and Mario.
Yep, Ryan Black, the Courier Journal in Louisville. Mark, I'm curious, with the way things are now, you know, early on, how do you gauge progress compared to maybe earlier in your career when, at least back then, maybe you had players you'd already worked with for a year or 2, and now you've got so many new guys?
Yeah, so there's a couple of really specific ways, and then some 30,000-foot ways. 30,000-foot ways is when I see my guys interacting, like the anecdote I shared earlier about the song, right? The more we see that, the more I'm like, okay, 30,000-foot level, we're getting there. The more I see my guys, and then getting a little more specific, the more I see my guys on the court holding each other accountable for the principles we're teaching, is super exciting. And then what's really exciting is I hear the guys parroting the words we use. We don't believe in synonyms. There should be no synonyms in sports. I'm an English major. I spent my life trying to, you know, Dr. Bly, one of my favorite professors in the history of my academic experience here at Kentucky. She's taught Milton and Chaucer and some graduate courses I took that I love her to this day. But the one thing she would not be happy with me is we don't use synonyms or colorful language here. We actually just say exactly what we mean, and we say the same words over and over and over again. And so as we're on the court, even just, you know, 6 practices in, today was our 6th practice, and you start to hear our guys to each other use our exact words, you're like, oh, we're making progress, we're getting somewhere. And there's 100 other ways, but that's pretty exciting for us to hear those words being used.
Finish with Mario.
Mario, Kentucky Sports Radio. Coach Pope, you talked about coaching your type of coaching style. How would you say the players have adjusted to your coaching style?
Well, they already don't listen to a word I said, so we're making huge progress. We're getting there. I think, like I said, I think we have, so here. So, I think one of the great markers of, the markers of great players, and players with a huge, ceiling, a high ceiling, is if they're coachable. And here's the reason why, is because you grow fast when you're coachable. So if we're trying to teach a concept or an approach to the game, and a player's pretty stubborn about it, and it takes him 2 weeks or a month or 6 weeks or 6 months, sometimes it takes years to really adapt that, you're stunted and you can't move on to teaching the next thing, to growing the next skill, right? And so it's been really fun to watch these guys, like, we're going fast and they're going fast. You know, I named a couple guys and it was super fun for me. Ooh, this is Mitch, should I get it right now? Mitch. Hey, I'm in a press conference right now, can I put you on speakerphone?
Good.
Oh, he said he would like to, but he's the other, no. Well, I'm sharing a bunch of dirt about you right now. I'll call you after. Yeah, all right, I'll call you later. Facebook Live. That's a great man right there. We're super blessed to have him, leading, University of Kentucky athletics. And clearly, I'm gonna say that because he was crazy enough to hire me, but on a much broader scale, we're really blessed to have him because he is, leading the charge in navigating the most complicated time in the history of college athletics, and it's not even close. And the one thing we know about him, he's gonna do with class and poise and intelligence, and so I'm super grateful. I promise that was not planned. Just like bear testimony of my love for him.